Hey guys, I'm Kari. This time I introduce tier list of LD5 monster only. This is the second video of the tier list since I introduced the tier list for all monsters a while ago. This tier list is based on the one I use in my Japanese channel, and since I don't use any kind of template, you may be seeing this format for the first time. This time I'll show you from G to C rank. Next time I'll introduce rank B to SSS, and since it would take a lot of time to introduce all the monsters, so I'll introduce about 3 monsters for each rank. If the monster you are interested in is not included in the tier list, or I didn't introduce it, please write a comment and I'll reply to you. Okay, let's get started. First, rank G. About Daniel. Daniel has a skill that changes damage amount depending on the opponent's gauge. Especially when the opponent uses Leo, picking Daniel can give you an advantage in the pick and ban phase. I often use Leo, and if the opponent picks Daniel, I have to ban him. He has a strength similar to Vivace. However, there aren't many players with my style, and since many players prioritize speed, so there aren't many matches where he is useful. Therefore, he is rarely picked and placed in rank G. About Ariana. Ariana is a monster with revival and cooldown reset skills, and she is sometimes used in specific teams. Specifically, she is often used in combination with monsters that have powerful skills like Daphnis or Federica. With her skill 3, she can grant immunity and endurance effects, making it harder for enemy attacks to defeat your monsters. She is especially effective when the enemy team doesn't have a stripper. However, since she can only be useful in specific situations, her pick rate is low. About Light Nezuko, she is a monster that can become invincible under certain conditions. After attacking on her turn, she gains an endure effect, allowing her to withstand opponent's attack. Especially if the enemy doesn't have a stripper, it's possible to win with just a single her. No matter how powerful the attack, it won't work on Light Nezuko without a stripper. Like Miho and Leona, she is useful in specific situations. Although she can be useful in pinpoint situations, her versatility is low, so she is placed in rank G. Jaga is an attacker specialized in damage battles. He has become even easier to use with the threat effect gained from BP. He is often used with Nana. By doing so, after Nana's skill 2, he can move and easily defeat opponent's monster in some cases. If you create a situation where Jaga can move freely, he can easily defeat the enemy's monster. However, he is not very strong against turn 1 opponents, so his usable situations are limited. Next, rank F. About Altamiel, he has become easier to use due to previous buffs. By raising his defense with skill 2 and attacking the opponent with his passive, he can deal significant damage with this attack, especially when the opponent frequently uses critical hits. Altamiel's counterattack is very effective. For example, by using him after the opponent picks Verde or Diana, you can gain an advantage in the pick and ban phase. However, his overall pick rate is not that high. About Alexandra. Alexandra is a powerful attacker with guaranteed critical hits. Although the fire attribute Helena is also strong, Alexandra is equally powerful. If the opponent's team doesn't have a supporters, she can win alone. Although she doesn't have a defense break skill, her damage is high, and she is often ruined with violence or despair, especially against opponents without will runes. The overall stun from despair runes is very effective. She can also reflect damage, so she can be used against one-shot teams and is not easily defeated. About Seren, She is the latest to awaken monster. She is used by top players, especially often in Taiwan teams. Since Seren herself has high power, by combining her with other damage dealer, you can easily defeat the enemy. However, she is difficult to use in turn 2 teams, so she is a monster that chooses her user. About Dark Gojo. Dark Gojo is an extremely powerful monster against specific teams. Especially against turn 2 teams, his skill 3 is very effective. Since he can seal the opponent's passive skills, he can invalidate monsters like Leo or Verde. If his skill works well, you can win with a high probability at that point. He is effective against teams like mine, so I ban him every time. However, his overall peak rate is not that high. If there are more players using teams like mine, the frequency of him being useful will increase. Next, rank E. About Shun. Shun is a powerful attacker with defense ignoring attacks. When attacking an opponent in a Shadowbind state, he can deal significant damage to other monsters as well. Although his durability is low, his damage is high, so you can easily defeat the enemy. He is a monster used in any rank, and if you can master him, he is very powerful. And he is a monster that can only be used in Taiwan teams, and also he is not used often. If he is used, you likely lose if you don't ban him. About Audrey. Audrey is a monster that can get defense buff with her passive and deal significant damage to the opponent. She can be used both on turn 1 and turn 2. I summoned her about half a year ago, so I sometimes use her. Even if she is not built slot 4 with critical damage, she can deal significant damage, so I often use her as a last pick damage dealer. And by building her with all revenge runes, she can increase her defense by being attacked by the opponent, so she is not easily defeated. About Zeras. Zeras has been buffed by several BP and is now sometimes used in specific teams. He is basically used in one-shot teams. He is sometimes used in combination with monsters like Kuraka or Nefu, and also in teams like Lucifer or Trinity. Depending on the situation, his attack can easily defeat my team as well. His skill 2 recovery has also been buffed, making it easier to use than before. However, since there aren't many players using him, so he is in rank E this time. About Mananan. Mananan used to rated low, but recently he's been rated a powerful damage dealer. Players of any rank use him. By having him attack with skill 2 against an enemy with defense break, it's possible to defeat them to the first turn. For example, by using skill 2 after Vanessa, it's possible to quickly defeat the opponent's monster. He is a monster that can only be used by turn 1 players. His strong point is his damage, so it's difficult to use him in turn 2 teams that require durability. Next, rank D. About Gurka. Gurka was nerfed before, but he is still a powerful monster. I also summoned him last year, so I use him occasionally. When the opponent enters the provoke loop, they can't escape. And once they are in the loop, it's possible to win right then. Previously, he could recover on his own, so by using him with support monsters, he can be used similarly. Even if the opponent is a strong player than you, it's sometimes possible to win with him, although he is placed in rank D due to peak rate issues. His performance is top class. About Dark Shiguro, he's a monster with multi-hit attack and defense break skills. When he first appeared in the JJK collaboration, he was quite weak, so buffs were expected, and he became quite strong with the buffs. He is still quite useful, but there's possibility he'll be buffed further in the future. I often compare him to Bancliff, but Bancliff is easier to use. He can stun all the opponent's monsters, so I dislike him. About Dark Hacker, he is a monster with a powerful passive that doesn't allow him to receive more than 2 debuffs. He is very effective against opponents who use many debuffs. He can be used against monsters like Nef, Shizuka, or Lyra. However, he is not very strong in damage battles, so it's important to consider team balance. Both Turn 2 players and Turn 1 players can use him. Also, his skill 2 is quite powerful, same to the fire attributes, so it's good to have your damage dealer move after his attack. About Belaska, Belaska is a recently added monster, but she's so strong that she doesn't need buffs. Many monsters recently added, even LD5s, are not very strong, but she's quite strong. She's often used in teams close to one-shot teams. When an ally or opponent is defeated, her gauge is filled, so there's no need to make her fast. For example, the combination with Light Robo is very powerful, and by using skill 3 after he uses skill 2, it's possible to easily defeat a monster without the ability. Since there aren't many players who have her yet, her peak rate is not high, but I think there will be more players using her in the future. Next, rank C. About Dark Evo. Dark Evo is a monster with powerful gauge boosting and attack buffing abilities. He is used in Turn 1 teams and is often paired with monsters like Han, Kiara, and Cassandra. While his other skills aren't particularly strong, if he moves fast, many players will likely lose the match. While I can sometimes win using devil monsters like Nana or Karna, if you don't use those, you'll need to move fast with fast monsters like Segmeto. About Bancliff. Bancliff used to be rated quite low, but after previous balance patch gave him the ability to apply defense break to all enemies. He is now frequently used in Turn 1 teams, while Heian can easily counter him. It's difficult to prepare countermeasure since he is often used or banned. Be careful, as you can easily be defeated if a damage dealer moves after his attack. However, his peak rate isn't very high, so he is placed in rank C this time. About Light Inosuke. Light Inosuke is a monster added in the current Demon Slayer collaboration. Like Belaska, he is quite strong for a recently added monster. It's unlikely that he'll receive any further buffs. He's a powerful monster with defense break, gauge decrease, and cooltime increase for all enemy monsters. Countering him after his attack is extremely difficult. Therefore, you'll basically need to ban him or use a monster that can move before him. So this time I have introduced the monsters from G to C ranks. All of them are as strong as top ranked monsters, depending on how you use them. Next time, I'd like to introduce B to triple S ranks. See you in the next time.